Okay, my name is Jake Macapagal. I'm the actor from one of the actors in The Monsters Without. On my left is our director. Introduce yourself.
Randal Kamradt, yeah, writer and director of The Monsters Without.
Maria Kamradt, the producer of Monsters Without.
99%, 98%. The only things that are filmed in the US is occasional elements of visual effects. So not even entire shots, but maybe if we need like a close-up on a creature, we could shoot that on a green screen in the United States. Everything else is in the Philippines. Minus one short scene, maybe a minute. Well, it was very fun, and it was also very difficult. There's all sorts of obstacles to shooting in the Philippines, especially. We like to really use the location. We like to be outside, see the place, because that's why we're there, right? So that means that we're sort of at the mercy of the elements, and very often we had to deal with things like the weather, and we would try to integrate that as best we could. We had a scene with Jake where slowly it started to rain, and the solution was, hey, shoot it. We're going to shoot it in sequence, and we're going to really hope that we can cut this in a way that seems like it starts out cloudy and becomes rainier. It worked. Yeah. And that's the sort of thing we have to do since we're, shooting location.
Improvise.
Mm-hmm. We have to be on our feet.
The cave.
Oh, the cave, yeah.
So I got into the set and I knew we were going to be climbing up 5 stories, like a huge mountain to get there with our bags, with the water, with all the equipments, with all the actors helping out. But you see, when we get to the cave, what you find there is batshit. Sorry, I have to say that.
Guano.
Oh, guano. Okay, guano. So it is this bad, and people have to realize this, is that you're inhaling it and you feel like you can taste it. And
It's absolutely overwhelming. It's ammonia, is it? Mm-hmm.
But we are professional actors, and we're very happy that we're working, and that it's the Bayanihan spirit of the Filipinos. So we said, we gotta make this work, and it all happened. How was that for you, Malu?
For me, it was rewarding. It was definitely difficult on my part because I gotta make sure everything has to happen. Everything has to keep moving. So that was like on me. So I would be like 3 days ahead in my mind, like, okay, what we're gonna do, where we're gonna go, what we want to eat, what would people want to eat, and then what would they, not like, and all those accommodations. But overall, it was really an incredible experience. It was, like I said, very rewarding, and I felt at that time like this is impossible. Like, wait, monsters, but then we only had a couple monsters, so where are the other monsters? And he spent the next few years creating the other monsters.
Yeah, so that's a fully CGI creature, and that's an attempt to really create a monster that, as far as I know, hasn't ever been done before in any way. It's like, okay, well, what if the cave paintings themselves came to life? And that has to be a CGI element. We didn't shoot anything with that. There's even, you see the cave paintings before they come to life, that's also a CGI element. And, it's this combination of practical, because it's a real cave, and as Jake says, it's real back guano that you're stepping on. The floor is not rock. The floor is several inches of guano that's been dried into sort of a paste. Yeah. And well, when they fall down,
That's a different cave.
Yeah, that is a different cave, yeah.
I just revealed to you the secret.
Well, after we filmed a day in the guano cave, we realized, like, okay, well, we
don't have to go back to
yeah,
the old one.
let's get some variety. Let's go to this other cave without guano.
Yeah, and with that, we were very grateful to the community where we filmed it. Hindang Cave, it was an amazing experience with them. They were so welcoming, they were hospitable, they were very accommodating, so we're so grateful. And yeah, that was such an experience.
That's the thing about shooting on an island in Biliran where the mother of Randall lives. She's like the mayor of the town, so she can call in anybody. Not literally, but she can call in everybody. You better help out here, okay? You're not gonna eat, or here, in the Philippines, everything, Bayanihan. It's called Bayanihan. So it was really a wonderful experience just being in there. The whole village was like rooting for us.
Definitely a mishmash. It's sort of, let's start with the sort of well-known creatures, and we didn't mess around too much with, for example, the Aswang, the main character girl who can split in half, played by Jessica Neidstadt. that creature is pretty close to what is in legend, but then everything else has some twists to it, some little changes. Some things are total inventions. You know, it's an effort to be surprising even to the people in Philippines who already know these stories. Like, how can we make things a little bit different for them as well? For me, I only learned about these sort of later in life. The story really is that me and Malu, we were on Biliran Island, we were living there when the hurricane came, and Haiyan came, and all of a sudden we had no electricity. It was pretty chaotic, and we were sort of living by candlelight, and that was an incredible time to sort of hear these stories, hear them from Malu, and sort of start developing this. I mean, I'm sure you've heard them when you were a kid, right?
Yeah, during those blackouts and electricity for 3 months, it gave me, it brought me back memories when I was little, living without electricity, and our grandma or like uncles would tell us stories about these creatures, and I told him, like, I remember when I was little, my grandma would tell stories during this time, and I'm like, and he was like, what are these stories? And then I would share it to him. It's like, oh my God, that's really interesting. I would probably try and read more about it. And then when he started writing it, it's like, what do you think about this? And I was like, I love it. So I 1,000% supporting.
Malu really sort of brought me into sort of knowing of these Filipino creatures and everything. And so it was a real collaboration for us.
They used those creatures to scare the kids. So it's to handle them. So that's one of the things that the grandmothers would say, there's somebody there, you better be careful. Mm-hmm. So it's very cultural in that sense.
Well, the movie's certainly built to sort of accommodate that. It's the hope is that the movie doesn't end at its ending. It didn't be, and there's stuff that happened before it began, and it implies a vaster universe. So of course it's prepared to. We would love to do further stories in this universe with these creatures. I mean, we barely scratched the surface really of what sort of legends and mythology are available to us in Philippines mythology, and even we've barely scratched the surface of where we can take some of these characters. So yeah, we would love to continue to follow up on this, and time will tell. Definitely more creatures. Well, I think the big one concept that I definitely have is we didn't really mess around with size of creature. We had everything approximately human size, and I'm a huge fan of like Godzilla movies and the kaiju movies and Gamera, and it would be great if we followed up on this to start to talk about, have monsters that are bigger, monsters of that sort of size. What sort of impact do they have on this? And maybe even smaller monsters, maybe even microscopic monsters that would be akin to disease. There are various creative ways that one can take this. Yeah. I mean, we're sort of hearing that the sort of variety of it is sort of intriguing, and that's always been the goal, is to make this sort of like an extravaganza of a movie. It has all these different elements, all these different genres. It's packed tight into 90 minutes, and hopefully it's a really good time, and unusual for the venues that we're trying to bring it to, unusual for being a Filipino-American film. Mm-hmm. Trying to be outside of the box,
ambitious.
Mm-hmm. And as
bold.
Yeah, because if you're gonna put all your time and your effort into a project, it's best not to be tentative. It's best not to be nervous about it. Just full force forward, and that's what we tried to do with this project. Well, because that's what this movie is built on. Is there's a ton of practical monsters who are full makeup jobs that are really incredible, and then there's CGI monsters, and then there's the Aswang, which is sort of combined because she splits in half, she can fly, so it's half makeup, half visual effects, and that's always the special magic to getting good-looking creatures, is when you combine the visual effects and the practical. You know what can be done best by which format. And of course, if we had bigger budget, more toys to play with, that's what we would go for, is more combination.